Fuck, where is it now? Oh no, I've lost it. Oh no. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, here it is. Found it. I found it.
Na 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 na. We don't got a topic. Na 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 na. Fucking whatever.
Hello, one and all to our podcast.
Misinput. Calm down. You calm the fuck down.
I'm trying to say something, and I have a headache, and I'm tired. Hello, one and all to our podcast, The Server Nights. Here with me today is my dad, Roman Knight, and my brother, Saint Weeb. Today we'll be talking about something. We were talking about what we were doing over Christmas and all that, because I'm pretty sure we did a lot.
We kept ourselves busy.
We did. Mm-hmm. Not the good stuff, but we kept ourselves busy.
Well, normally we're living in an area where there's usually a lot of heavy snow, and this year it just wasn't heavy, so it was kind of nice. We still managed to stay inside and play games and do nothing, so it was awesome.
I prefer the snow, so I was kind of upset that there was maybe only, I don't know, a week's worth of snow, and that was it, maybe a little less. But
it's still winter.
Which is funny because I hear people are getting like a snowstorm warning somewhere in the northwest.
Oh yeah, it's getting bad soon. So prep for that, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
maybe not. That all moves east or west coast.
Who knows? Maybe.
We should talk about Christmas.
Yeah. What did you guys get for Christmas?
We celebrate the Christian holiday of Christmas. Yes, we do.
Yeehaw.
That's
such an unenthusiastic yay.
Yay. Okay. Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about Christmas after the fact.
Well, okay, because Christmas isn't necessarily just Christmas, There's the enjoyment of what you got on Christmas afterwards, of course. So, you got to explain to like people like your interests. I personally got Cyberpunk. I got Atomic Heart. I got a bunch of other stuff that I was also enjoying, but that's the main stuff that I remember. So, Christmas.
Yeah, actually, I got the Batman Arkham series, all of them, which was awesome. I haven't had a chance to really get into it, but I was pretty stoked about that.
I got a mic and a really cool fucking mug. It is actually really cool.
I like that mug.
Seriously. It looks like a tankard, or for like a pub or something like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a Stein for a Viking.
Stein, that's the word. There it is. Yeah.
It's a very Nordic mug.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
It's really cool. We also celebrated New Year's. Don't know who doesn't, but that's something. We just we did stuff. I drove a lot.
Oh yeah.
I drove a lot that day.
I partied on New Year's. That shit was so lit.
I'm the Disney
guy.
I am always the Disney driver.
Wait, we should actually really premise this. Here's the thing. You guys really, as you guys got older, or even in high school, you guys didn't go out and party a whole lot. You guys didn't do a lot of drinking. You guys didn't run around and cause trouble and get in trouble, that kind of stuff. You guys were pretty good kids, actually.
Yeah.
I was not. I was a rebel in my own right. I was always ditching the cops and hopping fences, and I was a criminal. So I mean, that was my youth. That was my teenage years. So when you said you were going to go wild, you said, "Is that okay?" And I'm like, "What do I care? Go ahead. You're supposed to be actually out." After I hit 18, when I turned 16, I don't think I spent too many New Year's Eves with my dad or my mom. So it was a rare thing that I stayed home. Lots of times with your grandfather, because he was a single guy, I would stay home with him because I didn't want him to be alone on New Year's Eve. But there were lots of times I just said, "Hey, I'm going out." And he would be like, "Don't get in trouble. See ya." And my friends and I would all get, drunk and partied, and, it was a night of folly, and that's what you should be doing.
I'm the typical middle child. I'm the designated driver. I sit at home with family, and I just kind of...
You are not the typical. You actually, the fact that
I offered for you to party with us, and you said no. So that's,
family comes first, and I don't want to party with a bunch of smokers and strangers.
I suppose, but they weren't really smoking at all. The only person who even lightly smoked was Mags.
I am also
That's
scared.
she
Just
needs it.
instinctively, you know.
Well,
So
that's the
also-
thing is you have
Not
to
on
go out and
purpose.
experience the world. You can't just sit back. You gotta grab the world by the ears and oh, that's gonna go weird.
Grab it by the butthole and just entirely fist that shit. Bro. Live
Okay,
your
well,
life.
maybe not so extreme.
No, a bit
But yes,
too
that
extreme.
sentiment is
I peeked the mic. Oh no.
the sentiment is definitely there.
I
But
mean, eh,
but it's one of those things where you're going to be turning 21 here pretty soon, and you're going to be able to drink legally. And I mean, we can go out and you can get drunk if you want, but you don't seem like that kind of guy. You seem like the kind of guy that would drink a little bit, enjoy himself, and then that's about it.
I wonder
Yeah,
who-
me on the other hand, I get fucking wasted, and I just
You
have a
got
blast.
trashed.
And then it's so funny because like I can outdrink everybody and then just have like no problems the next day. I'll wake up perfectly fine, like I'm so well rested. Have maybe a glass of water, start my cup of coffee, full on fucking Disney princess on that
the
bitch.
Okay.
Irish
Well,
jeans.
let me just tell you that comes with your youth. Enjoy that now. When you get into your 30s, it's going to be like, oh my God, it's been 4 days. I'm still hungover. What the hell? That was the last time I really, really got drunk was in like late 30s. And I got really, really drunk. And it literally took 4 or 5 days for me to recover. I felt sick for 4 or 5 days. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful, awful, awful. And I would never do it again. And so I haven't. I'm actually a very light drinker in most cases.
When I turn of
Well,
age, I'm going to try and get blackout drunk. That's just.
I
my
tried
goal.
to.
That is my goal.
I did this. I tried to do the same thing, dude. Our Irish genes will kick in and we'll fight it, and
Also,
it will
our
just
youth
not
barely
let
to
us.
that. But,
And our
what is the
power of youth,
what
my
is the,
young
what is
fellow.
the craziest thing you've done while drunk, or like the craziest thing you've seen while drunk?
Me?
Like either
I've
of you,
seen-
like seriously.
I've seen a lot though. I started drinking when I was. Your uncle actually took me out, and it was I think I was years old, and him and his best friend gave me my first beer at a Christmas party, and I remember they go, just take it easy, and I was into my second beer, and I hated the taste of it. But your grandfather used to always say it's an acquired taste, so I thought, well, I want to acquire that taste because I want to drink beer. So I acquired it eventually. But I remember that night the cops raided the house and we had to run out the back door, and we were hopping fences and we were running, and the cops were chasing people out into the street. It was crazy. The 80s were a little nuts like that. But later on, when I got back to Sacramento, which is where I grew up, it was my friends and I were all like, we were ready to party. We were ready to have drinks and act stupid. And we used to have huge parties. We used to go down to the golf course, and the 9th hole was right by the river. So if we went down at the right time of day, right at sunset, we could jump in the river and swim, and then get out and just kind of dry off on the 9th hole. And then we could haul kegs down there, and nobody would know the difference because we didn't tear the place up, but we'd haul kegs out and we'd bring booze. And
Down
we used
by
to
the river. Sorry.
down by the river, and
Drying off my ass down by the river.
we also we had a lot of drive-ins in Sacramento. So we go to the remember the Sacramento 6 drive-ins? We used to go there all the time. Take you guys as kids. So we would go there and hop the fence, completely drunk, sit on the mounds because you know how it goes up and down. So we would sit on one of those, finish off whatever we were drinking, throw up, puke, carry each other back over the fence and back into the car and drive off. Incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid.
Now, I would like to point out this is no longer a thing that happens as much. You know, it's
No.
nowadays it's like drinking just to like chill with your friends, and you know, it's very calm and collected.
Yes.
So I don't really have any experiences like that per se. But I do have like weird experiences in general. Like on New Year's, Corey has a full ass pinball machine, like whole pinball
Ooh,
machine,
nice.
and
Nice.
we were just getting wasted and challenging each other on that the whole night. And a lot of times we would trip over something because, well, we weren't paying attention and we were kind of drunk, and we would accidentally shake the machine so it would like restart the game, so that score would no longer matter, which is really fucking funny. But aside from that, not really too much else happened aside from getting drunk and playing games.
That's the best part about having friends that are around the same age.
Mhm.
You know, you guys can all experience things together. And all the kids I went to high school with, you know, of course, we were all the same age when we were partying together. We partied with your uncle's group, which was a year older than me. And the year before that, even, I knew those guys. And we used to party and drink with them. And I played football and all that stuff, but we were terrible at football. We were not one of those sports schools.
Mhm.
But man, could we party after a game though? Because there was really not a whole lot else to do when you're that age.
Yeah.
I
The
think
game, you party. You lose the game, you party. you
Well,
run
you know,
away.
when I think about this too, like they were so adamant about us not drinking or smoking or doing anything bad that, you know, we were rebels from the start because we were told not to do anything, you know?
Yeah. You tell someone not to do something, they're gonna want to do it more, you know?
The baby boomers were our parents, my parents, your grandparents. And the baby boomers were raised in a very harsh environment because their families grew up in like the Depression and shit like that.
Yeah.
So when it came to us, they treated us like their parents treated them. But what happened was in the process where we had it really hard, you know, they were really honest about stuff. We rebelled really hard. And so we did a lot of bad things just to kind of feel alive. Now, when you guys came along, of course, I don't believe in sticking to the same cycles of life. So I'm always trying to break things. So the cycles that I went through with my dad and my mom, I didn't want you guys to have to go through.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, you guys can't do this, I said, you know, drugs can make you stupid. Alcohol can make you stupid. Don't do stupid things. Be smart about it. If you're going to drink, at least tell us. We're here for you. We will come and get you. Do not drink and drive.
Yeah.
We will come pick you up in the middle of the night. Don't worry about it. You will never be in trouble if you're calling me for a ride. And I never had you guys call me for a ride because you guys never got drunk.
Yeah.
You never did drugs. Never knocked up any teenage girls. I mean, you guys were angels compared to my generation. We were.
I think it's the difference between saying not to do something and telling someone why not to do something. Like, I remember this story from, like, the Revolutionary War. This is such a weird turnoff, but please listen. There was, in the American Army, there was a lot of people that were untrained, and so George Washington brought in a French, I think it was a commander or a general or whatever, and it was so strange to him that the soldiers wouldn't listen to him unless they were specifically told why to do something. And I think that's the same for every one of us Americans. We need to be told why to do something, or else we're going to be very angry about it or like spiteful about it. And so rebellious, yeah, that's us Americans. All right.
Americans are rebels by nature, but like we tend to, as of late, been like letting people just kind of walk on us, and I don't get why that
Let's let him
is.
finish his thought
No,
first.
that was the end of it. But
Oh no, he was
Okay.
done.
no, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
I don't remember.
Well,
where I
here's the
left
thing:
off.
is that
Last
I don't
thought.
think that we're letting people walk on us, and this is a lifetime of experience with it. You know, I was born during the Vietnam War, so you know we saw how the world treated our soldiers. We saw how the world treated us back then, and over the years, instead of being like the police of the world or the bullies on the planet, we kind of backed off and built up our army. Don't get me wrong, nobody should ever mess with the U.S. Army. We're, I think, the second largest army on the planet.
Well,
that we
okay,
know of.
okay. So what I was saying by that wasn't like so much as the rest of the world shitting on us. I'm saying we're shitting on us.
Oh,
We
yeah.
unto ourselves are running all over ourselves without any consideration for the other person next to us. Uh, our our system is kind of breaking off a little bit, and we're all trying to figure out what is best for our next area to move to. And it's going to be like a big thing. I feel like where there's going to be one big focal point event, and we're all going to have to decide where things go next. And it's going to come down to majority vote, and there's going to be problems, or I don't know, something along the lines of like either aliens or like another civil war or something. I feel like that's where we're leading.
I don't think it's gonna be aliens, but I feel like I get you. Either there's gonna be an enlightenment period where we try to band together, or there's gonna be a collapse. And I feel like we're leaning towards the latter nowadays.
So
Yeah.
let me just tell you that when I was in high school, we used to think the same thing. We had to change things because we wanted it to be better. So recycling became a much heavier thing and a burden that we took on as our generation did, which is why the U.S., strangely enough, is number one in recycling on the planet.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're really good about that kind of stuff, and we really do try to evolve.
Yeah.
And
a change that happened.
Yeah. So the thing is, the United States is still kind of late teens, early 20s kind of country. If you compare us to the rest of the world, they're much older countries. They've been around for centuries and centuries, and we've only been around for a couple of centuries. So it's one of those things where we're still kind of the young kids on the block as far as countries go. So we still have our growing pains.
Yeah.
So what's happening right now is it feels like there's going to be this big change, which is good. As the next generation, you guys should be pinpointing what you guys need to do for change. Now, recently there have been some political people that have made it a little more clear that we do need a lot more change.
Yeah.
So for me, what I see in the world right now is not that we're going to have a big change. We took some steps back, and now we're trying to move forward and trying to rectify problems that we may all see but don't know how to fix. And I think those are going to be the big changes that we're going to see over the next decade or so.
I definitely hope there's going to be a lot more changes that are for the better, but right now in particular it's like moving the step back. We're in the stepping back process to learn things, but we have to be able to move forward afterwards.
I think we took 4 steps back, and we're only 2 steps forward at this point. So we're still 2 steps back from where we were. I always saw it as, okay, well, we've had a black president. That was a huge evolution for us. It really opened our eyes to, oh my gosh, why have we not done this sooner? Why have we not evolved faster? Now we have a female vice president who could run for president at some point, and it would be fun. And that would be a big evolution for us. But I think there was a part of our country where we took steps back, where racism became almost a norm. It was there were people that wanted it to be okay to be racist, and I've never raised you guys to be like that. So we are against racism. I am a big supporter and an ally to LGBTQ+. I believe that these kinds of changes are things that are important. It can be annoying, of course, because I'm old, and change is never easy. But I'm also one of those guys that truly believes that change is a good thing. It evolves us faster and gets us to the next level. And there's always going to be those growing pains.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot to dig into on a couple statements in there. I agree. I am very anti-racism. I hate that shit. But I don't know if I fully support the LGBTQ. I'm bi, so I'm technically part of it, I suppose. But I don't fully endorse it. And I don't want to go into full with it right now because I don't have all my words together with me right now. But personally, I just don't fully agree.
I'm of simpler mind, and I get to say, as I say, I support LGBTQ. I don't support people that hurt themselves because they feel like, they're not how they want to be. You are you. That's just how you should. That's just how you should be. If you want to change, don't go through surgery or take pills. Try to find your like balance in life. Find a way to
I
treat yourself
think
naturally. That way you are you instead of something
yeah,
that you've forced onto yourself.
yeah. I think okay. So I think there's boy and there's girl, and that's it, gender wise. If you think there's anything else, I think it's a mental thing, and I think that's a big thing that needs to be touched on with the LGBTQ. Is like a lot of it is mental illness,
Well,
and
yeah.
it's
So here's the thing. So I had a really good friend of mine, and he was gay. And when we would hang out and talk, he told me that he was married for like 5 years. And I go, "You're kidding." And he goes, "No, it was my best friend in high school, and I didn't realize that I was gay." And he goes, "But I married her. We were planning kids. We were very happy together. But one day I realized that I was attracted to men, no longer attracted to women. And I had a conversation with her, and it was an understanding. And they actually stayed best friends. And she moved on and married someone else, and he moved on and he married someone else eventually. So for me, yes, there are physically, physically male and female.
yeah,
But I think that, and this is how I always described it, is, or it was described to me as such. When I think about, because I'm straight, when I think about women, I think beautiful. I want to kiss them. I want to hug them. I want to feel them, and I'm aroused by them. When it comes to men, I don't have those feelings, and it's a deep down feeling. It is a deep down feeling. Now, when gay men look at men, they feel that same arousal, like I do towards women, but they don't feel it towards men. They only feel it towards men, and it's that deep down, born in you feeling.
yeah,
And to me, when I think about when somebody is gay and they cannot express themselves, and they cannot be themselves for so long, it does mentally unstable them, and it basically makes it harder for them. And I think you're correct in that there's a lot of mental instability in that. But we also, those of us who understand ourselves, really need to be considerate of that.
Yes, no, I don't disagree with that at all. I think there is a lot of like, I think mental illness is like the biggest thing people don't touch upon nowadays. Like, there's so much mental illness that it's leaked into every part of the economy in its like slightest areas.
It's like the same thing as racism, as we were talking about before. It's become a norm, and so we don't worry about it too much, but we should be worrying about it because it is not good for us, you know.
Well, and it's something we should all fight to help, you know. And I think too many how do you describe this? There's too many people of higher power with like the money and the ability to fix said problem that choose not to, and it makes it tough for the rest of the world because it is such a majority of people.
So going back to the original thing, that started this whole conversation was, what's wrong with America? That's what's wrong with America. The higher, the people in the higher positions of government are usually older white men. Yeah. And by older, I mean they are older than the boomers. Than the boom. I don't know. Am I a boomer? I was raised by baby boomers.
I don't know. That's hard to describe.
I think I'm on the cusp of it.
Around that area, you're kind of in between, I'd say. I think.
So what it is that it's these people that are in these higher positions. They don't like change. They don't like anything that's going to change how they live their lives currently, or that they have to go out of their way to say something different about certain people. You know, it's one of those things where it's before the world was, and this was the 80s and most of the 90s was, you know, racism was subtle, but it was bad to be racist, but it was subtle and little things that we said and did, and we were slowly trying to get rid of it. By the 2000s, we were starting to move out of that, and racism was, I felt like, slowly slipping away, and that we were really getting closer and closer to it. And then somewhere along the line, in the last, I'd say, 10 years, we have backtracked on all of that. Now people are openly racist and they are praising each other for it, and it's amazing to me. I'm watching this going, we worked so hard to not be like that, and here we are back on it again.
I think it's because it was such a big thing for a while, and then we realized it wasn't something that we wanted to be, and so we moved away from it. We tried our best to move away, and then we forgot about that part of ourselves, and it kind of slowly creeped back in. And now we have to try to do that again. We have to try to...
Well, I think the big reason why it came back was because it was so ostracized. And because it was so ostracized, but also still such a big part of history, people started to overtly try to figure out why. And some of those people believed they were in the right when they learned certain things without looking through the rest of the knowledge on it.
Maybe it's that thing that I was talking about before, the rebellious side of us. Because some of us are like... People say don't be racist, so we're going to be racist. It could be that as well for a lot of people.
I think some people, I think a majority of it is mental illness as well.
I think that too. That mental illness keeps preventing people from acknowledging the problems that they currently have. But I also think that there is a big portion of this country that takes things at face value. They can't see beyond their own, their household borders. They got to see. You got to see the world for what it is and accept changes. And there's, because we live in a small town, you know what it's like around this town. Nobody wants to change anything, and everyone gets upset when there is change. And when there's change that they can't accept, that they don't want to, they either make fun of it or they get mad about it. And we can't be like that. If we want to evolve as a species, as a society, we have to start accepting this change and absorbing it and moving forward with it instead of fighting it. It's like the whole pronoun thing. I fought it at first. I'm like, oh, if I see a he, I'm going to call him a he. If I see a she, I'm going to see it. Eventually I went, well, that's rude. That's inconsiderate. And so, and you know this, with your friends, I've actually said, well, what are your pronouns? And so that they would feel comfortable around me. I wanted them to know that I'm an ally, that I support them in whatever they decide. And and it was fine. I was fine with he and she and all that stuff. And I have a friend. Actually, they're twins. They were girls, and they were born female. And one of them is a model, and she's got a kid, and she does her hair and she does her makeup. But her sister does not, and had not. And we all knew that she was a lesbian. And when she finally came to us and said that she was, we were very proud of her, and we all celebrated her for coming out. Now she goes by Chuck. Chuck has a beard. Chuck has a hairy chest and has a girlfriend and is very happy.
I get what you mean. It's okay. It's okay for people to be who they are,
Well, the thing is that if Chuck never accepted the way he wants to be, physically he feels a certain way, and this helps him adjust mentally in his life. He was torn because he felt more male than female his whole life. And it wasn't until now, mind you, he's in his 30s when this whole big change came along. So he really had been through the ringer. His teens, his 20s, he was misunderstood, and their mother was not supportive. And Chuck even went into the military, and after the military is when he said, this is what I want to do.
I don't know. I personally don't know. That it's kind of a tough case more than anything to decide whether or not I don't know. I think there's a lot of mental aspect behind it that is kind of going unseen, maybe by them, because I think you can be like gay or lesbian and still believe you are, you, and accept yourself for it, but I think that trying to switch off to another gender is not the right way to switch off from it. Like, I think you can be gay and still feel very feminine, but you don't have to switch genders for that. I think you can just accept yourself and not have to listen to others about it. I think
That's very much true, but it's
there's a
also
lot of
it's a case by case
You're not wrong.
because
I don't disagree.
and I think that's where it is, and I don't want because I think I understood what you're saying, but it's one of those things where it is a case by case, and I think that's how
Yeah.
you really are thinking is that it's a case by case basis. It's not black and white. It's
Yeah.
not black and white across the board.
There's a lot of gray area.
So much gray area, and I try and be supportive of all of it, but you know, there's also something to be said when, like my friend Randall, he used to be my manager when I worked for Warner Brothers, and
Yeah.
he is openly gay. He had married his husband in I think it was Hawaii decades ago.
Mhm.
He would never change. He is happy being a male. He is happy being married to his husband, and he's perfectly happy being openly gay. And it was one of those things where I was so proud of him, but I never said that I was proud of him, but because he was just living his life. I don't have to go around telling every gay person I'm proud of you, but it's one of those things where he knew who he was, and he never had a problem with it. And he was gay his whole life.
Yeah.
With Chuck, I think he fought against being gay as a woman, as a lesbian. He didn't want to be just a lesbian. He felt like he was male, and he didn't come to a decision of surgery very easy. It was an incredibly hard decision, and having physical changes made his life better. So again, it's a case by case basis, and it's not. I think that I think they even still to this day still have a year of hormones, and they have psychiatric evaluations prior to any surgery. A year of it. So, which I think is wonderful. That gives them a chance to kind of go, do I really want the surgery? I'm kind of happy being a lesbian, or I'm happy being a gay man. I just want to be happy.
Yeah. I think because I'm gonna bring up a story that I've already heard before, and that is slowly becoming more and more common already, where elderly homes, people who have transitioned, who start to get dementia and whatnot, it just destroys them to the point of like mental destruction, where they cannot fathom the fact that they either chopped it off or it's just suddenly there, and it's absolutely terrifying for them. And that kind of thing, it's such a scary thing to see, because it's becoming more and more common, and it's harder to see with people. But
but you got to look at it in terms of their life. Not only are they at the end, but if they have dementia, their minds are already kind of gone as it is. They don't understand what's happening day to day. So they're going to have some problems, but they're going to forget about it at times, or they may have one bad day where they're like, I can't believe it's gone, or I can't believe this is here. They're still, they don't remember anything. And your great grandmother had dementia, and it was bad. And they would walk in on her, and she'd have, she'd be completely topless, and she's a 90-year-old plus woman sitting in a wheelchair with no top on, talking a little girl voice. So I mean, that's if say you're trans, and you're a good portion of your adult life you were transitioned, and you were happy, and then the last part of your life you're confused and lost and you don't understand. I'm pretty sure that good part of your life when your mind was straight has got to be the most wonderful part of your life.
Yeah,
I gotta imagine that happens.
Yeah, it like you were saying earlier, it's very case by case. So like if you have early onset dementia, that's where it's gonna hit the worst, I think, because you're gonna imagine it this way: like you're say getting raised, and you're living your life up to maybe 10, 12 years old in your mind, but the next thing you see is like you're already like maybe 30 or 40, and you're a grown up person. You're older. Your life has been lived without you remembering all that, and then you're in this whole nother body that's no longer even close to yours. That fear, I can only imagine that kind of fear. Like that would scare me,
Oh
like
yeah.
to some degree.
Oh yeah. Well, and fear is a big part of who we are as humans.
Yeah,
It
it's
it
a way
dictates
of
everything.
learning
Yeah.
for sure.
Fear tells us by instinct what we should be looking out for.
Yeah,
And
I think a lot of the stuff that's currently happening is mostly like a learning tool that like isn't teaching so much the people who are living it, but the people around them that like maybe a
saying
lot of this is what's up?
Oh no, I was just saying. I was just, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's more of a learning tool for the people around them, teaching that maybe it's more of a mental illness mixed with like your own uncomfortability with how you feel around yourself and like the self-esteem and the body dysmorphia that you currently have because you feel you are out of energy or you don't have the time to spend to change yourself in the way that you would like to see currently, in a natural way, I'd say, or at least a more natural way, you know. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
and it's like we were saying before, is mental illness is something that's overlooked in this country a lot. And coming from the era where my generation, Generation X, we didn't deal with
What the hell?
But did I do that or did you guys do that?
I didn't.
You did that.
Oh,
Dad,
geez.
you did that.
We found out.
Did not mean to
found
do
out
that.
what generation he's from. We found it.
He's from Yay!
Yay. But Generation X, we didn't have any of the. We were still learning about mental illness. We were still learning through the 80s. And as a matter of fact, I was just listening to a podcast about how mental illness and mental health in general really changed in like the 80s and 90s to where it was a little bit more understood how things were working.
Yeah.
And that up until the 80s, they were still just, there was these mental institutions where they were just stuffing people that had like autism and people that had like little tics and stuff. They're perfectly normal minds, but they couldn't operate properly. They would just stick them into these places and just let them sit. And it was
a lack of understanding that they grouped him into one place if they didn't understand it, and that's something that very much changed over the next couple of years past the 80s, I'd say.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a mental institution or possibly a hospital before 2000s is a bit off. Just saying.
Well, in the 90s, because I went to college and I studied psychology, it was an incredibly it was an incredible learning experience when you start learning about how people's minds work and how people function in society. And addiction was still kind of something we were all dealing with still, and it was all kind of culminating about the early 90s, and by the 2000s we had figured out a lot of it, and so understanding and learning became better. And I personally love the psychological side of how we all work and operate, and I find it incredibly interesting. My favorite class was abnormal psychology. So interesting when people talk about the multiple personalities, which is a rare thing, but still out there.
Yeah, abnormal. Yeah.
So, but I mean, now that we have a much better understanding of it, for your generation, it pans out, it works out. And I always hear old guys talking about, the guys who are older than me, which is my whole building, my whole warehouse that I work in. They'll talk about it and they're like, oh, everybody's always got to cry about something. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
we were raised to be tougher about these things because we didn't understand. There was no other understanding. Yeah. And we were told, rub some dirt in it and move on. And whereas with you guys, I could actually say, okay, well, here's a problem. How do we address it? Yeah. I mean, even when you came to me once and said that you needed to get some help.
Yes.
My immediate reaction was, what did I do wrong? And I had to realize it wasn't something that I was doing wrong to you. Yeah. It was just how you were.
Yeah, I needed that help for a plentiful amount of reasons, for sure. But
And it did. It helped you a lot. And I
yes,
was so happy for
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things where I can't go to you or it's your fault. It's one of those things where I just need the help, and there's only so much help you guys can all give me, you know.
Yeah.
And to put that kind of mental strain on you guys if I didn't go to therapy would result in the mental failure of all of us and not just myself. And that could have been like a whole breakdown thing. And that's, it's not something I should do to you guys, to anybody. I think anybody
Well,
who
but you
has,
shouldn't do it to yourself most specifically
yeah,
because
it's
you
a
need to.
it's one of those things where you need to go to a professional because they're the only people
Yeah.
who really can help you with that kind of thing.
No, yeah,
And
I could not help you if I tried,
Yeah.
even if I wanted to, because I am too much invested in you boys,
Yeah.
and I would not be able to see it with a clear head.
Yeah.
And you guys have to be able to speak to somebody, and I think it's important. I think we should all, try and speak to somebody if you feel like you're struggling in any way, and let's just say this out loud now. If anybody's out there struggling with anything in your life, if you feel like you're too worn out from life in general, speak to somebody. Please go get help.
Please seek help. It is very important. And nobody's going to be able to help you with it except yourself. You have to go out there and find somebody to talk to you about it.
And there's no
Professional-
age restrictions. No age restrictions. You can be as young as you are, or you can be as old, if not older than I am.
Yeah.
And
You could be 5 years old or 120 years old. You will still need that help. You are human. You need
Yes. and with the understandings that we have now, it is not a failure. Not on your part, not on your parents' fault. It is a failure not to seek help. It is so much better if you can actually get out there and ask for a little bit of help, and don't feel embarrassed about it. Don't feel bad about it.
You may feel worried about telling the people around you because there is always that chance that maybe it was used as, say, like a punishment or something, or like a warning to not do what you're doing. Forget that. Do what you need to do. If you need to save yourself or someone around you, please do it. Forget everything else.
There are people that have an education and knowledge in this that you will never understand, but they do, and they can definitely help you. My friend Michael, who just came out to visit me, is an amazing psychologist, and he still does good work to help people. And I truly believe that there are people out there that just all they want to do is help. They're not in it for the money. They're not in it to entertain themselves. They just want to help. Please let them help you.
Yeah.
And with that said, we live in a society.
We live in a society, Batman. Society is sus, Batman.
We're using a lot of soundboard stuff, Batman.
Batman, look, I added a smoke detector.
No, we got too serious there for a minute. All right.
You guys ever been the leader of a group? Just going off to a different topic for a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was a manager. I've been a manager or assistant manager in multiple stores.
Talk about Echo. I really like the story about Echo. It's really good.
Oh, when I was a manager there. Actually, I was a really good manager there because I ended up being.
Recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Oh. Whoops.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, old chap. Continue.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Gosh, all of a sudden you're British. Prim and proper.
Prim and proper tea and biscuits.
Designer and mash. What?
Oh my, dear sir. What the actual fliblickens?
Yeah. You were talking about being a manager at Echo.
I loved being a manager at Echo. I actually really loved being a manager in general. I was always that manager that was, I would tell people, I don't care if you're having fun, have fun. This job should be, you should smile, you should laugh, you should have a good time, but get your job done. If you're not doing your job and you're still screwing around, then we have a problem and I'll have to call you into the office. But otherwise, I don't care if you're laughing. I don't care if you're talking. If all the work is done, take a break. I don't care. That's as long as the work is getting done, everybody should be happy.
Actually, my
And
current boss is like that. My
yeah,
main one, of course, my general manager. So yeah,
my employees loved me. They were devoted, and I figured if you make people happy and they become devoted, they work
Mhm.
hard, they're happy to come into work, they're not calling out sick, and my theory worked on that. We went from I think we were doing $400,000 a year to $2.3 million, and that's in a 2 years time span. Now, that's a
Yeah.
huge increase in profits. We were number two in all of North America in profits. Of all the stores in Canada and America, we were number two of all of them, and there was
Yeah.
thousands of them. So I was good at that stuff. But when I caught my manager stealing, she basically turned on me, and so I got fired. But that all worked out in court, so we're all good.
Yeah, that shit's whack. I've led my business a bit too. A lot of my coworkers are very lazy and either old or weak, so they're not able to carry most things. So usually they all ask me for help for things, and a lot of times when we have disputes, I tend to be like the mediator or the mitigator, whatever it's called. But
Mediator.
that one, sure. And I don't know. I tend to help lead alongside my general manager, even though I'm literally just a cook, and it's whack. It's crazy, but it works. You know.
Well, and that's the thing is being the mediator. It just shows leadership abilities,
Yeah.
and I could see you as a leader, but I think your self-confidence holds you back.
Probably, yeah.
But it's one of those things where you have the knowledge, it makes you a better leader. So if you know how everything operates and works, you can be in charge and still have people doing your job.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
for me, it was about knowledge. I knew more about the store than anybody else did, but I was teaching other people. Do you guys remember Shirley? She was my
Yes.
assistant manager.
Yeah,
So
she's
surely-
usually
see what-
babysitting all that.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the babysitter. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask if she was the one with the stripper pole, but yeah.
Yes, that was her. So with her, I would try and teach her everything I knew so that if I needed a day off, she could take over. And she did. She learned everything. She learned it quick, actually. And so when I would take time off just to hang out with you guys, because you guys were still little at the time, I wanted to spend time with you. I would have to ask her, can you just take the day and run the store? And she'd be like, yeah, no problem. I got you. And she ran it. And I didn't have to hear anything from her. I would, of course, be constantly checking my phone. Is everything okay? Yes, stop checking in with me. Go back to spend time with your family. Got it. Thank you. But it was one of those things where good leaders normally don't want to lead. But it is important that those people do lead because they can have a better perspective of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think you would make a great leader there, Saint.
I would
But-
make a Greek leader. It's true.
A Greek leader. You
He'd be.
you got to wear something underneath the toga, man. It's creepy.
Nothing
But,
can stop me. I'm going commando.
Besides 28 stab wounds.
But see, now,
28 stab wounds.
but now with Gateman, it's one of those things where you have a lot of knowledge, but I think, but your fear holds you back. You still have to get over a lot of fear because when it comes to dealing with things as a leader, you have to be the one that says, okay, we're not wasting any more time. Direct line, A to B. This is what's happening. And you have to be able to go on the fly, say, okay, you three guys, go do this. You two guys, go do that. And get this fixed. I will be here fixing this. And if anybody needs me, you come get me. And you have to do it like in a second. You have to be responsible. Whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, you take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not-
Confidence is key.
Confidence is
100%.
definitely key.
Well, and that's the thing about you, Gateman, was that you always faced your fears. Like you went after it. Like if you knew you felt uncomfortable about something, you would address it immediately and try and get over it. Didn't always work, but you faced it at least.
I like
The Saint, I think it's more of a you can do it. You can definitely do it, but your self-confidence gets in your way. You think, oh, maybe I'm not that great. No, you are. You're going to fall, and I've told you guys this from when you were little kids to today. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Every mistake is a learning experience. And as long as you learn from your mistakes, you can always do better. And I've had more than a few companies come to me and go, my bosses come to me and say, what I love about you best is you never make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
Because I learn, okay, don't do that because this is what happens. So I would do something different and see how that worked. And if that worked, then I do that, continue to do that. If it didn't, okay, don't do that anymore. Do this one. We'll try this next.
That's why I really like the phrase that I usually use is if in doubt, double down, because it works very well. If you don't have the confidence to do so, then just go straight head in without worrying. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if you win. You just gotta do it. And
I think that's very case based, but I do
it.
It is a case by case basis.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's very case by case, but I do agree. You should double down sometimes.
No, all the time.
Well, it's more of a. I don't think it's so much as double down on it. It's
ram
more
your
of
head
a.
into a wall,
Don't
like a
stop. Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep going. Keep learning.
Crush the
going forward.
enemies beneath your heels.
Destroy
Crush the
every
weak.
bone in your body. But
And when you end up in the wheelchair,
Oh, jeez.
When you end up in a wheelchair.
It's so dumb. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dark humor. What a plague. Okay. Anyway, I got it. No, joking.
oh man, we've kind of gone all over the board.
Oh
this
my
hour.
god.
We have definitely gone over. We are a metronome.
Left
I don't know why
I
I'm
think we
fucking-
started out trying to talk about Christmas, and then
Welcome to the most bipolar fucking podcast you will ever find.
We are. Oh, that is such a. You know what?
maybe that's what we should call ourselves. Not servants.
The bipolar podcast.
I feel
Bipolar
like that's
idiots.
Bicolon.
By my colon.
By my colon. The podcast.
Bicolon. It does both.
It's just this shit, trust me.
Okay. That was something.
All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Outro noise. Subscribe, like, follow. Ah! All right.
So
go on.
I'll be in the wine
misinput,
cellar.
calm down.
Haha.
You calm the fuck down.
I don't know. There's no step.
And I'll see you all in hell.
Going down.
That one's so long. But if you want to find us, you can find us on YouTube or Spotify if you are on either one. You can also find us on Tumblr, Reddit, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why they named it like that. But and I believe that should be
The Musk.
The Musk.
Okay. Inhale the musk.
Okay,
The
take it.
Elon of Musks.
Okay.
Elongate my
Before we
musk.
go,
Oh,
before we go any longer.
that sounds hairy.
Okay, take care, everybody. Take care, everybody. Go, 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 go. Bye,
Later.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.